I rang someone up for business. I was telling Zan, I think. I rang someone up about business the other day by getting some stuff printed in town. Some random kid. Don't even know him. Still don't know him. No, I don't know who he is or out like that. And now says, oh, still into graffiti, like I've been doing a bit now and this and that. And I goes, oh, WSK. He says, oh, what were you thinking? I says, oh, WSK. He goes, Wild Style Kings.
Yeah.
I was like, and he couldn't even tell me who we were. I didn't know him at all. And I still couldn't tell you who we were, but he still knew what it were.
I'd get back to Sheffield and I'd see what was happening out on the streets there as well, and people smashing it all over the place. I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. So 14 years old, sneaking out the house, etc. All kinds of hours just to put tags up.
Just to say, it's just like history repeating itself, and I just wanted to be part of that history and make my mark in it. Yeah, you just want to be out there all the time, doing new stuff, getting better. So all the people you looked up to, really, you want to get to that sort of standard.
But that's part of it, that buzz. I mean, when I was younger, I'd drive and nick cars or do graffiti. I couldn't drive, I didn't know how to wire a car. So the only way I could be a twat as a kid was to write on walls.
You get that, innit? Bad boy, wasn't he?
Like the art and the piece inside and stuff. I love all that, yeah. That's part of it. I love like doing letters, I love like doing pieces.
That's all we did. We'd go up in the morning, we're outlining, we'd go downtown, we'd meeting up, racking paint all day.
Everyone starts off scribbling on walls, tagging, and then it all evolves from that. You either progressively go on to pieces or you just carry on bombing. As long as you're doing your thing, it doesn't really matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing something.
Tagging, that's how we started off, by simple tagging, from going up from a tag to making your name, from tag to bubble, from bubble to adding things to it, to anything you could think of to make that, like, your name look bigger, brighter, wilder, simple, any style you wanted. We started off by your simple tag.
Hip hop was just blowing up, so hip hop like a new music. So with hip hop came breakdancing, came graffiti.
I used to sit on back of the bus and just hit roof of bus all the way down as I'm getting off at bus. And then you like get on it at like Crystal Peaks, go to halfway hill, get off it up there after you've tagged it to death, wait for the next one, get on that back down to Crystal Peaks, tag it again.
Everything's illegal. Your paint starts with being illegal because you've robbed it. You're breaking into a yard, you're hitting the trains.
Doing graffiti, doing the wall at night, it's going back to take your pictures, taking your pictures into the shop and getting your pictures out. That is when you know you've got away with it, when you've got your pictures.
Well, I started when I first went to senior school about, 20 years ago. I started off writing curse, had a break from curse and started writing fats, and now I just got bored at letters, wanted something new, so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to write Jesus.
I've had various names throughout the years, but my main one, Bombs and Booms. Been writing pretty much since the mid-90s. I haven't stopped ever since I was 12, 13, 14, and I used to get the train to Chesterfield to see my dad like once a week. And at that time, around the mid-90s, the lines were hammered. This was the Southern Line as you're going down towards London, and it was covered in dubs by Fister and Mist and Jaya, who obviously at the time wrote Force. A lot of big names, and for a kid, I was a bit of a loner, but I was a bit of a rebel. Put the two together.
Well, I started doing graffiti back in 1984. This program came on TV called Hip Hop History, and there were a guy on there spraying this character with like a baseball cap on, and sort of he had these like hands out like that. I thought, oh, I can do that. So I copied it, and I thought, I wonder what it'd be like doing it on a wall. So the next day I went out to Woolworths and I bought a can of paint, and I sprayed it on the side of this building. Well, somebody's house actually it was. and and I still had a bit of paint left, so I went and did it on a wall further up the street.
I'll tell you what, when I was little, I was about 9 or 10, and I used to live down near Carlton Hall, and for years I never knew who it was, but now I think it was either Jim or Dash that done it. And I remember walking past it, and it was one of them old school characters from the 80s, you know, with the arms crossed and headphones on, old school Adidas. And it said Wild Style next to it, and I remember saying to my father, oh, that's bad, you know what I mean, just like a big cartoon strip to me, all bright colours and that. And he was saying, no, that's bad, you don't want to be doing that, that's naughty. I was thinking, yeah, I do want to be doing that, that's bad.
Early, yeah, 2003, and then I had 2004, which I decided to turn into 2004. Yeah. And I decided, yeah, seeing as it's 2004, I'm going to run with that. Do as many pieces and get as much as I can done just within that first year. Me and my friend Shex, that was it, yeah. Just us two roaming the city, going crazy, just exploring really.
My first real piece, it said tat, and I did it on the side of a block of flats. And the next day, when I came to have a look at it, I was like, oh, wow, that's, because it was massive. It was like about 20 foot long, and it was about 6 foot high, and it said tat, and it had clouds around it and everything, and 3D. And
hip hop was just blowing up, so hip hop was like a new music. So with hip hop came breakdancing, came graffiti, and I saw the older guys in the area that started tagging, putting pieces up which were like basic pieces, which were bubble letters. But it blew me away.
When I first started doing graph, a lot of the writers that were about had all stopped doing it. It was like the early to mid 90s, so we were like a fresh breed of graffiti writers. So we'd started our own crew, which were an old Sheffield crew, and I took that around Europe, painting trains, vandalising things.
No, I started off writing, started off with Poscas and pens and stuff. We did everything, but yeah, it was that transition from doing your first like 50 shit dubs, you know, whatever, you know, and trying to get your can control, because not like paints now, it were hard to do, to get that can control, messing with your nozzles and all that, saving your best ones that are off blocked up.
Like, we were like young boys back then, you didn't get your respect, you were just like little kids coming through channels, getting your paint tags and shit like that. They just stuck it, you started getting recognition and appreciation from older writers. Like, yeah, these are young lads coming through. And I never thought I'd still be doing it now at fucking 34.
Yeah. Nothing to do with art.
Oh, he says it's... No, he was in the crowd.
We're doing
that's another word.
With me, I did it in my own little way. Mine was to like.
I think it's just about posing like you.
Mine was in like, you know. I don't know. It was like I just used to enjoy it so much, you know. That was the only thing. Like when I used to like finish school, that's the only thing I used to do. You know, pick my pens up, get me, you know, get me spray can, go to different, you know.
You started
different borough in Sheffield. That was the only thing that was constantly on my mind.
You started doing that in 86.
I was obsessed, completely obsessed with it.
I seen a scene straight away, and then a camaraderie in a way, but with mischief, and I were into that. I seen a naughty side of it, and then as soon as you get spray can art, subway art, and you read it, and now all of a sudden that's happening here, you just like zone in, and that's it, sucked in. This is what I'm going to do, and that's it.
I started doing it on my own. I was like tag loner, one man team me, no crew, just a name, and just go out, put it up as many times as I could. Trackside, no trains, just trackside. Do a bit of bombing, bit of throw-ups, all over the place. Try and get my name known.
It were a good scene, but it were mainly buses when I was younger, and everyone writing on buses, and as a kid going to school and seeing names up, and I thought, I'm having some of that. Main one was Joke. As soon as I seen Joke, and this guy's all city, I'm thinking I'm having that. So I got into it because basically you write your name, you see it yourself and you're buzzing, and then everyone else sees it and it's like, oh, Dial's got this, Dial's got that.
Been writing since probably about 86 when I first started. We just with normal stuff, everybody sticking stickers everywhere, so we just write 0 in. Then changed the code, so I'd say I started back in 86, went through to probably early 90s, just can't be on it.
Yeah, I was just mad for it, hungry for it, yeah. And that's what I did. Went around, got up. Like I say, it was all about the exploring, just wanting to see my name everywhere, and that was the aim basically.
Me, I got into it in 1988. Got into a crew called ACT. As I say, just bombed up Hull City, all over Sheffield. Became fairly famous with it within Sheffield.
Age 14, 96 I started tagging, I started getting my cans together, I was trying dubs. Yeah, when I first started it was purely by myself, I didn't know anybody. It was just me, I just wanted to go out and get my name up across the city. I just wanted people to see me and take notice. For years and years I used to paint by myself. It wasn't a thing about having a crew or going out and getting pissed and meeting people. I just wanted to paint, I just wanted to do graffiti, I just love graffiti.
I wrote a lot in Sheffield around about 2000, 2001, and everyone were getting busy with fat caps, the big silvers, big fat blacks everywhere. Yeah, I used to enjoy that. I grew up round here really, and then when I was about 13 I moved up to a posh neighbourhood, at Door Totley around there, so a lot of the kids who made friends around there, they weren't really interested in that, they just wanted to play football and stuff. Well, forever pinching markers and writing on stuff, even then. So I've always been interested in calligraphy and writing and cartoons, and I've always liked it since a little kid, so ever since I saw that piece when I was about 9 or 10, that set me off, that really did.
Before we started doing graft, there was no graffiti anyway, there was no vandalism or anything. We more or less wrecked the city. We tried to go all city, tagging every borough. We tried to hit every bus and every bus route.
Well, back then it was new, we would come over from America. Sheffield seemed to catch on more than other cities. I don't know what it were, but it just seemed to spread in Sheffield more than other places. And it was just like an addictive thing, so you just had to be in. Like if you're a young dude, like back then, you had to be into it.
When I first started, Sheffield was scrubbing, we didn't have that recognition. Then further on, a few years later, it's graffiti capital of England.
Yeah, well, they used to write it all over, didn't they? Sheffield Graffiti Kingdom. It used to be just posted everywhere. They were just ruthless. But fucking hell, man, they went mad.
Well, that was the 90s, weren't it?
Do you remember? Early 90s.
Town was like, he was looking to find a space, it was that bombed. You talk about London bombing by Germans, yeah, called London Blitz. It was like Sheffield had been bombed by a nuclear bomb. You come to Sheffield, as soon as you got off a train, anybody coming from out Sheffield, boom, that's what you've seen. It was graffiti capital of England. It was bombed that much. It was hard to find a spare place of concrete.
In Sheffield, 88 I moved here and I got welcomed with open arms, first people. I started about 83, off and on. Yeah. And being 88, it was brilliant. It was the perfect year. I used to live in Birmingham, which was a really bombed city. And the only other city, apart from Birmingham, up north, at the time, talking 86, 87, was Sheffield. It really was bombed, obliterated.
I mean, the place was bombed, full stop. And that's, everyone at school, whether, before all music stuff come out, everyone had a tag, even on the books at school and all that. But it were massive. Buses, town, every area. You were like, go on your bike into woods and stuff, and people were in pillars and stuff like that. It was mint. It's just, you got to start writing, and that's it. And that's how I thought.
Graff started in the Manor and Pittsmore, that's a fact. Yeah, so from going back to very old. So Manor has got old writers and Pittsmore's got old writers. That's what unified us. It weren't black or white thing, it was everyone together, bombing it, blazing it.
Yeah, it was, and I understand it's got a mad history, and that's one thing I learned through travelling around, exploring the city. I could always see that other people had been there before me. Always, no matter where I went, which part of the city it was, there'd always be somebody else and be like, oh my god, look who it is, look who it is. And then it got to the point where you weren't even surprised anymore because they'd just been doing the same thing you'd been doing. just at an earlier date.
Everybody wrote. I mean, even the milkman probably went out bombing. That's how many people were writing back in Sheffield back then. I mean, Sheffield got labelled the worst bomb city in Europe at one stage. Everywhere looked like this. It didn't matter if it was a rich area, it didn't matter if it was a poor area. It was bombed, and that's why it got handed with that label.
I started in early 90s, like 1990, 1991, and back then it was like just ridiculous. Everywhere you went, Sheffield Canal, down Pittsmore, everywhere. It was graffiti were everywhere. It were just like wallpaper for the city. You know what I mean? It just inspired me to start painting, looking up to people like Gordon, such, Miss One, Fister, all those top cats back then. I was just like, whoa, the stuff what they're doing is amazing. I want to do that. I want to be like them.
I think for me it were better to go into it at that stage because I had people to look up to. I wanted to see, I wanted to make. I could see their stuff and I wanted a bit of it.
Just every corner you looked at, there were a dub, a throw, a piece, something bright, something dull, just an outline, a tag, a name, a number. It was just everywhere, weren't it? You know what I mean? You can't really describe what it was like to me as a kid looking at that. It was like, it just influenced me, made me want to do that, and I do see where that saying's come from because there were that many people doing the same thing and wanting to be better than the next man all the time. It inspired more and more people to get involved.
What kicked it off in Sheffield really? I mean, it all came as a movement, so it was like a new form. So graph knew everybody wanted to be good at graph, and Sheffield was just one of the cities that was influenced by New York. I think what a big thing was when a lot of guys I think watched Style Wars overnight. Everybody wanted to be graffiti artists, but there were only a handful of people that were any good, and that's where the ACT came. Just a handful of people. Yeah. Like a shot from the rest, it became a crew.
1990s were probably best graph years I've seen from how long I've been doing it, you know what I mean? Train lines were just as bad. You could walk from Bayton all the way down to Meadowhall and there won't be a plain wall inside.
Oh, it was insane, absolutely insane. It was definitely like, when you see them talking like going all city in New York, I know Sheffield's not the size of New York, but it was just you just go to areas and bomb it, and different night go to another area and bomb it. And then train lines, you had to be up and down every train line. So you just walk, at nights or Sundays, just for miles, just to keep getting every tunnel along the train line. Like, stupid, no. Absolutely blitzed everything, top to bottom.
Leeds, which were the same size, didn't even have one tag, but yet Sheffield just completely took like it. So I can't understand it to this day.
What was the difference back then?
There's a reason, but I'd say I got to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I remember just going around with my mum on the bus and things like that, seeing Ask, Des everywhere, some nice Des pieces, but yeah, Ask and DIEL and the TCM crew, used to see them loads.
88 I reckon was the peak. Yeah. Because of the hip hop as well. Yeah. You had Run DMC, Beastie Boys, added to it as well. That's just all we knew, though. Part of the thing, it was hip hop.
It's like ATD and ACT and stuff like that, where they were fully fledged, they were going. BTV were going, they were all running.
Well, yeah, I think what it is Sheffield Council didn't have a lot of money, to like get rid, remove, what. Because there were that many of us, doing it. They just didn't have the resources, to get, to wipe it out like they have today.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just the main thing to do, back then. It was just the only thing that you were bothered about, doing graffiti.
Des Mist, Joke, Liltman, all BTV, DTR, WSK, all them lot was still all running.
Fister, it was Mist One, Des, Cost, DIEL, Ask, Jaya, Curse, Chrome, Joke, Risk. These were the guys back then. These were the guys who knew how to do it, and all of them were a big influence for me.
DIEL were the big area. DIEL, you see DIEL everywhere. DIEL, Ask, Force, Really? There's a lot. You see Fister, obviously, he was the main man everywhere. Missed one, his tags were up a lot. Risk.
That's what influenced me and got me doing what it is today. All the Sheffield crews, the TCMs, yeah, the WSKs, all that stuff. That's what influenced me big time into getting into it myself. So whether I took any influence from them, I'm sure I did on a subconscious level. I'm sure I absorbed it in and spat it out in my own way.
One of the best areas where we used to hang was like Pond Street, which were classed as the levels. There used to be a series of subways, and that's where we did most of the graph back in the day. And that's where the crews hang out, that's where the original writers' bench were. So Saturdays, all the writers, and because graffiti was blowing up and it was a big new fad, all the writers were there. So there was like maybe 50-60 writers came down there. Most of them were toys, but it was like a big new movement, and it was wicked. It was wicked.
When I come in, I wasn't in the crew. It took me a few months. I met a guy called Seven, who was in BTV, which is a big time vandals, and they were based at Rotherham at first. A guy called Angel invented it. So I met Dean at the Friary where all the ACT used to have the original writers' bench near Roxy's, used to go. So I met him there, and he let me in like a crew sort of thing. A writer's bench is where all writers meet. Used to be on a Saturday afternoon. So we used to meet there. 16 I was then. It was swapping photographs, sharing photographs from big albums and that. Tagging, obviously, swapping markers and paint.
Well, years ago it were on Fountain at the top of Fargate, and writers used to hook up, even Rotherham kids used to come through, and at first it were like people would segregate, so right round Fountain on benches there'd be like Rotherham crew, and there'd be ACT, then there'd be others, and then there'd be like a skate park is now, you get all your cool riders and all that, then you'll get all your Grems coming up, and it were like that, so people would stay away, and then if you knew someone to knew someone, it were all a bit dangerous, because you're only like 14, 15, and these are big kids, and back in the day, you didn't mess about with big kids, whether it were writing or not like now, everyone's a cheeky fucking don't give a shit. Back then it were like, oh my god, that's Des, or so you didn't do an approach, whereas now, they would. And then there were Links Arcade, and a lot of writers went there, mainly because Risk had glass engraved every computer machine in there, but that were a big writers thing. But as a young kid you went in there and you get taxed for your money.
Just to not bother with school, straight into town, rob paint, as much paint as possible, and go and do what I thought were a good piece then, but it probably looked a mess. Progressed, got better. As I've gone along I've met other crews, which is Risky now, PSST, Miss One, and we formed a crew which ended up becoming ACT.
The ACT were all city, they were fucking wrecking it. ACT have done it ever, way before us.
Awesome Crime Team, which at back in the 80s it was like the main, crew.
Yeah, ACT started in, let's say, 1986. Stands for Awesome Crime Team now, but when we first started, it started out as All City Taggers. It consists of me, Risk, Star and Spread.
That was like the beginning of it, in Sheffield. So my aim was to get in that main crew. So what I had to do is like put it up everywhere, so that they knew if I got in that crew, that their crew name would be everywhere.
And that's All City.
Because at the time it was called All City Taggers. All City means just everywhere.
It started off as All City Taggers, yeah, because for being All City you could only get in that crew if you were like proper like All City. That's the only way you were getting in that crew.
So it just happened to be that we've got a crew in Sheffield that were like All City Taggers, so to get in that, you had to be everywhere.
You had to be like everywhere, every bus. You had to be All City, yeah.
So that everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
Everybody's
All City, every single borough.
It means everywhere. Like I said, there's about 82 boroughs in Sheffield.
I would say
he's getting all them 82. Even if you've just got one tag in that borough, you've got the whole borough, every borough.
Then it changed. It then changed name to Awesome Crime Team. That's the official name now, but we use other names like All City Terror, Always Causing Trouble, loads of like little names we come out with, but the official name now is Awesome Crime Team.
Well, you got to remember, we was bombing buses then all the time, constantly.
When we all started writing, we never really met each other. We never really knew who each other was. The buses what running our bus routes used to park in the same garage at night, so every so often I used to see a risk or a maze tag pop up on my bus, or a spread tag, and I thought, well, who are these guys?
And then you start seeing other people's names. You were like, before you knew anybody, when it all started, you didn't know other people from different area. You only knew who you chilled with.
So eventually we all met and formed the old Awesome Crime Team, All City Taggers.
So we started biting the insides of the buses, but the maze each started in the outsides of the buses.
We used to use like paint to bomb buses with, everyone using different colours, and we used to just hit every bus what came along, and that's how the rainbow buses came along.
We used to call them rainbow buses. We'd all have different colours. We'd just sneak, as soon as the bus pulled up, boom, we were like behind them for like seconds. We'd have seconds and we'd be like just blitzing them, 3, 4, 5 of us, boom, hammering it.
That were another way of like the Awesome Crime Team getting up.
They're pulling up at certain terminuses where we could sneak up behind them. We've done them like where we've had like 3 of us running up behind it, one's putting the outline up, the next one's filling in like in a row. You know, like we've got seconds to do it.
Like if a bus came, it'd be a fight to get your name on the bus in the best place possible.
You'd have like half a minute and we'd bang up a quick outline. Sometimes like we'd have to wait till it to come all the way back round to get the other half of the outline up.
But I remember when I was doing buses a lot, I really did get like, I was king of buses for about 1.5 to 2 years. And because I was left-handed, you used to get canvas smooth, right, do the back window, right, because I learned that from Birmingham, how to plug windows without the alarm going off. Because I was left-handed, there was not many left-handers, so I used to do WSK down on the outside top decker.
There were lines that like crossed over, so you could get off one bus, bomb that bus, get off, catch the 20 feet other way, then you'd be on 70s, 71s, and they were all space buses. So with like 2 hours work, you've like killed lines, and so you've got everybody and you've seen your stuff.
We just ended up going up to one of the bus stop where it stopped, and right where it stopped there used to be a wall, and this wall used to be right next to the bus stop, next to the road, and this wall had started from the back wheel to the back of the bus, and we found out that once the bus had stopped you could just jump upon this wall and tag between the upstairs window and the downstairs window.
If you looked up at a bus and you didn't see like a risk or act on that bus, it's a very rare sight.
Yeah, you know, your backsliding windows on SYT buses used to, basically it's not like they are now.
I used to
fucking get your hand, just slide it across just to let air in. But like him and what have you, get his arm out onto the back at bus.
So I was skinny then, I've always been skinny, but my arm used to get out. I was a
and then you'd see a bus go past the back at bus and there'd be a WSK tag at top at bus.
Sometimes we even tagged bus windows, like when buses used to stop at traffic lights behind each other. We used to run to the back of the bus, stick his hand through the back window, tag the front window of the bus behind you.
There's ropes on the outside, we just blitzed the steel, we just killed the steel. That was like Sheffield steel at the buses.
There was about 5 or 6 different type buses what they used in Sheffield. You had the 400 buses, you had the 1500 buses, you had the 700s, you had the 1900s.
We was bombing buses then all the time, constantly. There were our routes.
Yeah.
Studying routes and times. That's what we all used to do.
To hear people talking about, oh, he's got that line, he's got that line, sounds like a cliche like New York, but that's how it was. 71, 70s, up Prince of Wales Road, 32, 23s.
You had LE, that stood for Leadmill, GR, it stood for Greenland Road, EB for East Bank, and HE for Herries.
It's like different bus yards like Greenland Road, East Bank Road, Herries Road. It's like so many different like types of lines. We still start like that. these numbers and codes was like for different yards, for different areas.
And then I'm saying, oh, Zan's been on that line, or he's been on that line. And then when you meet up at Writer's Bench and they're coming past, and these buses were bombed back in the day, you couldn't even sit on back seat. In fact, sometimes you used to get on and wipe people's tags off. You shouldn't have done it, to get your best spot.
We were nobodies, just from the ghetto, but like we got his own little fame in his own way. You first seen your like name come past, and you looked up in the bus and you saw your name, like you were like, oh yo, your name, it's there, man. It's like, so like, imagine you want to do it even more, so that next minute, every time you looked at a bus, you were there on every bus. In our own little like world, we were kings, and we like just took over the city really.
Old photos. This one night we all went and painted a bus. This is when we jumped over a fence into Olive Grove, the bus depot, and we all just smashed the side of a bus and went around tagging buses. That was me, Teeth, and them two kids from THS, K and Pace. That was a good night.
But I never really got into tagging buses. My dad being a bus driver, he probably would have gone down right well. I do remember bombing one once. Actually, a train driver sat at front. He saw me, went downstairs, top bus driver. This is top of Granville Road. Bus driver come upstairs, had a look, went down to the radio. I thought, fuck this, there's no way I can get caught stuck on a bus, no bombing. That right straight out back window. And I don't know, no. All I remember is jumping through, kicking it, jumping, landing straight on my feet, and I was just gone like a gazelle. There was no stopping me, yeah. Even bus driver told me dad's story. And my dad called and said, oh, what about this? One of my mates caught a kid on bus, and he just literally just belted through the back window. Says he looked at it back in the north side of him, gone. I thought, fucking hell.
People nowadays buy paint, but back in the day it was a no-no. You don't buy paint back in the day. And we were all school kids. We didn't have money to buy paint. Even though it was cheap car paint, it's not like the nice thick paint what you got nowadays. It was just cheap car paint, your car plan, until you got your bunk like. The bunk like, well, that came further down the line. Everything was car plan and home-based paint.
Like nowadays, people's buying paint. It's like, do none of that bullshit when we started, man. We steal the paint, man. That was part of the game. Racking the paint. We'd go in like shops and just teeth big sport bags full, 30, 40, 50 cans at a time. None of this buying stuff.
But I used to be part of a professional racking crew. Just going to get paint? No, it started off paint, and then it was beer. We used to go travel from off-lights to off-lights, getting whatever we wanted. My most cans of paint and beer that I've racked is, in one night, this is 62 cans of beer and about 24 cans of paint.
Madness.
That's just in 2 hours, like literally from 7 o'clock at night to about 10 o'clock.
Well, we used to do a little thing, me and a couple of mates of mine in the 90s, where we used to go in and buy 3 cans of paint and stuff 5 cans in front of your baggy pants and 5 cans in back, put your coat on and walk out.
No one had any money, so any money you had was spent on other stuff. And so we just used to go out racking every day. Car paints, sometimes emulsion. Every day we'd go out, rack some paint, and then paint at night.
Well, that was the main thing where we would travel around. That was the main thing, to go to other cities just to rack paint, because we were barred, like from B&Qs and things in Sheffield. They were putting fake cans on shelves and stuff, so we had to travel to get paint. And when you're like 16, 17 year old, you can't really buy paint and shit. So that was part of the travel, the buzz, going around racking paint, vandalising other cities, and then coming back with the paint that you'd racked.
You had to rob paint. There was no two ways about it. I can't see my mum going and give me £20 for some paint. Plus we used to rob a mad amount of paint. I can remember one time me and Des must have robbed, 300 cans in one afternoon. Mad amount of paint, and the amount of paint we used to go through, there was no way we could have funded that. He had to be robbed. And that was part of the buzz, robbing the paint. It was a big buzz. Who could rob the most paint? Who could rob the most markers?
All over, we used to rack constantly. We used to go into all the paint shops and just literally throw them off the counter every single day.
Yeah.
We were racking paint, we were racking beer.
When I started, that was part of the game. That was part of the buzz. That was part of it. Like, it was part of the whole the whole history of it. That was part of it.
That's when like we used to fucking rob bus drivers, we used to be shoplifting all the time, we used to rob bandits, we used to make fucking £100 a day, we used to rack our paint, our beer, our champagne, our wine, we used to sell wine to people's families, so we had money then.
Even the style of clothing, it were all around the same culture. You know, like everybody had Puma States or shell toe shoes. You had your what you class as your shell suits kind of thing. You know, you like your wet look suits, your Puma or Adidas ones.
Yeah.
The old school was big now.
New ones.
Yeah.
Is this what everyone were wearing back then?
Yes, definitely. What we've got, Pumas and shell toes were definitely choice trainers of graffiti artists. They were absolutely crap to run in, but they looked absolutely mint. You could fatten them with some nice laces in to match stripes.
Yeah, got the fats in there.
Yeah, definitely. These are quite rare. These were bought in France in about 97, I think. Yeah, euros. Nice crisp pair. Don't think they've even been worn. First pair I ever bought were in about 87 from a shop in Rotherham called ES Sports across from Rotherham Ground. They're some old ones. Green boxers are old ones. They're from like early 90s, late 80s with green boxers. Well, back then, suede and shell toes, they were only two trainers for anyone to really wear. It weren't until you sort of got into early 90s, 92.
Oxford.
And where people wearing Arachis and stuff like that.
Yeah, you said
Davies, yeah. At that time, that were 88 or something like that, 89. I think everybody growing up who were into the b-boy type scene and graffiti and, you know, stuff like that, breaking, Puma suedes and shell toes were just the thing. In early 80s, they'd have been like that style.
We had all that stuff, but we were all robbed. We didn't have no money. We came from poor backgrounds. I came from Pitsmore. We had no money. And if you wanted it, you had to rob it. And that were it.
Sometimes it were dodgy, sometimes it weren't. Sometimes you get your mate to distract shop attendant and you could go at bike and fill your coat, zip your coat up and walk out with your cans rattling and they never said oh. You know what I mean? And then your mates would be like buzzing and then you go back an hour later and do the same again. And they never cut and done. It's like, how stupid are you? We'll just keep coming back and hitting you.
Well, that were our lifestyle. That's all we used to do. Just go rack paint, go paint and get high, and that's it, and enjoy the scene. But everyone knew each other, so there were like people could give you a heads up like for what shops were good, and then there were like a code for you couldn't like go to a shop and fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? You've got to take a little bit and let them replenish, and then it's good for the next person. They were that kind of thing.
Yeah, they used to put after the bit, once you've been racking paint for quite a bit, they used to put dummy cans on shelves with just labels around them that were empty cans. And if you wanted to buy one, you had to take it to the counter. So that took novelty from Sheffield. So we had to go further afield, and then you hear different paints what you can steal, and different car spare shops that got decent paint to rack. Go to little villages that have never had graffiti, so you could steal their paint.
If people went in our crew and they came downtown and we seen them with paint, we just taxed the paint. That's how it was back then. It's like we didn't have no money. We had to rob our paint, we had to steal our paint.
Oh yeah, you used to steal everything, but you get to a stage when there's other things what you can do to make money, to make a lot more money, i.e. fucking drugs and stuff. Why would you want to go out and steal 10 cans of paint at £5 each when you could just go out and do something else for an hour and come back and buy 50 cans of paint? The buzz was there, but my buzz came more from vandalising. I didn't. Racking's good, but it doesn't last forever, and you always get caught. Whereas if you can get paint by other means, you might as well get that and then enjoy yourself. Vandalising trains around Europe and stuff. Well, in Sheffield, a lot of them were still fucking rooting round for odd cans of paint here and there. We were taking like our graffiti crew around Europe, painting trains, exploring different cities and getting around.
I'll tell you, you're a certified graffiti writer from when every writer in your city's got to know your name, and you've got to be a good writer. And plus, you're not a proper writer till you've painted a train and done a dub and a piece on a train. You've got to paint a train, really, haven't you, to be a proper writer? To say you're an established writer.
Painting trains is part of the parcel of being a graffiti artist in the first place. Everybody wants to paint trains, and it's the buzz of getting in the yards, the buzz of getting caught, hitting the first train. It's unbelievable when you first hit your train.
I wanted to do trains. I wanted to have my name on a train, and we used to have like train yards in Sheffield. Just like a weekend thing, we started going down to the train yards every weekend to do trains. A handful is what went down doing trains, doing carriages. The first train what I did was a train I did with Mist +2 and Sack. We did a brothers train. I did a character and they did the letters.
We've had them running New Year's Eve, certain yards we've done them out of town. Done them, like I said, there was so many Sheffield yards where you had to sneak into Sheffield Midland Station yourself. The trains were running to keep warm. Like that's how they parked up. It's like not no easy thing to do on our train in Sheffield. It's a hard thing to do trains, but we've like still hammered them.
Like, were you the first guys to do trains?
Yeah, in Sheffield we were the first ones to do trains.
We painted trains. Me and Ask used to live near Tinsley, and Tinsley were like biggest marshalling yard. So trains were available, and back then you just walked into train yards, no problem. We used to paint trains in day, and the only thing you had to look out for were like dog walkers or psychopathic train spotters and that. But no mobile, so it didn't matter. Like, oh, what are you doing? I'm painting train, what are you going to do? That's it. It didn't matter.
The trains are what I would class as a graffiti artist were the pinnacle of what you could possibly do. You couldn't get any better than hitting a train. And then especially when the train pulled out and you could see that train move, because you knew that might go down the line to Doncaster, it could go all the way down, hopefully to London. And because he was trying to get hit the inner city trains.
Back then, again, it were all about the train yards. It were all about how easy it were to get into these train yards. And you could take your time. You could literally camp out there all night, couldn't you?
Yeah,
and not get trouble.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
it's a bit like camping, isn't it? But there's a yard next to you.
I mean, you've got your baiting yard down here, which you could launch in there on Sunday afternoon and just do what you wanted.
We always had a ritual. You did not start a train until 12 o'clock midnight, or it was bad luck. So we'd all be sat on top of it. If it was Tinsley, we'd be sat on top of it, banking, wait till 12 o'clock. Right. If you went before 12, you jinxed it. So it was tradition for us, 12 o'clock start.
Then it just got harder because transport police got onto it. We got chased out of there. I can remember hitting my head on couplings trying to get out. And me and John had got out, and Bodsworth and that got caught by looking transport police.
There were a lot of train yards, like when I was younger, looking up again to all those old guys. There were Darnell Yard, Winker Bank. Sheffield had like 5 or 6 yards.
It was bad. It was just bad. And if that went a whole route, you knew that people were all talking about it because people would come down and say, yo, I've seen your piece, man, the piece is bad. And it's fame. It's all fame as well. It's all fame. Everybody wants fame. Everybody wants to get up.
It was a cool yard because it ran closed. Once you're in, you're in. And nobody could see you. You just do what you wanted. Whereas say when we used to do Darnell, a different ballgame, you'd have gangs of drunks coming down, trying to rob things or just meeting up for fights, trying to do a piece and cars are pulling up and they're jumping out fighting and hiding behind trains. Or you get people nicking up scrap, while you're in the middle of a piece.
I watched Des and Miss paint a train once in Darnell from a bush when I was 15 and never come out because I thought if I come out I'm going to lose my paint on my shoes or something. Not that I would have done, but that's how you thought back then. But yards were easy accessible, and that's when they painted the Mist and Such Rock the City train, which is still my all-time favourite. It's one of Sheffield's best trains ever, along with the Mist and Space train that went to every yard ever and then ended up in Nottingham and News and Join painted over it, and then it come back to Sheffield. It was It was like a family heirloom for railway. Best train ever.
Then we also used to do, it was like a railway museum inside Medwall, a bit of a train yard there. What we used to do is like buff them all down, paint them up all nice colours. We jump off Saturday night, do a nice burner down it, get us photos. Weekend after, we had primed it all, buffed it down again. It was just like having a blank canvas put there for you. And we just never clicked on, so we'd back up fence again, paint it again, and we just ritual.
Like, that's how it started. There was no better like than you'd have to sneak out in the dark. You never like knew exactly what your piece was gonna look like. You'd done it, but you couldn't wait till the sunlight in the morning, and you'd go back and get your photo, and you'd look at it and you'd see your colours, and you'd be like, whoa. Cause like I said, in the dark, yeah, you was all having to do it in the dark, and you never knew what they were gonna look like until you seen it the day after in the light, and you could see the full effect of the colours.
During the 80s, there were a lot of trains got done, so security, either security got tightened up or yards got shut down and moved away, but it just got harder and harder to paint trains, so you had to go further and further afield. And then eventually, when we discovered that you could go to Europe and walk into a train yard, spray paint it daytime and not worry about anything, the English seemed to die down, because it were only a matter of time before you got caught. Like there was Tinsley Yard and another few yards, but as I was just starting to do graffiti, a lot of them were shutting down and moving them to different areas. A lot of them were going down south, so it just seemed to fizzle out. But we still wanted to paint trains, so we just used to travel to paint them.
Just getting some paint together for this bad boy.
This is what we use, MTM94 for that. This is what we use, quality paint. 94. An orange yellow.
That's it, innit?
What's that one here, look?
Eldorado, it says.
Should have enough one can for 3D, I reckon.
So you got all your paint, DUSE?
That's it, tomorrow.
That's that one at Town Centre that we did. That one.
What's that?
My two Sem friends to do Sheffield. They did that in All
Yeah.
Road.
Was that illegal?
Yeah, but they did it in daylight, they got away with it.
Well, what happened there was, in between me, Ask and Force, as it was at the time, Jaya, approaching the Arts Council in Sheffield Council, and it was about the same time that Fist started bombing up in there, and he was getting bad press. So the council was sort of pushed media-wise, talking to people, and that were basically, look, this is what's going to happen. Graffiti is never going to stop. We need somewhere legal to paint. He's saying we can have this site, that site, but we need to put plans forward and all this, and it just went on and on and on. And me and Ash just thought, right, you know what, we'll flip this, and we just sent him a letter. We found a site. We've talked through all the ins and outs. Ash wrote this letter up. We are going to paint it this Saturday. If you have any opposition, please get in touch, and we will not commence with our new painting. Nothing come through, obviously, because.
So we just basically waited for either children in need or some charity work going off in City. Put some overalls on and just go down and start painting the wall.
And it was the same time as Children in Need. So we put a little like support Children in Need thing at the side. Middle of the day, we just cracked on. In fact, we went down the Friday, painted it all up, emulsioned it, And then we went down, me, Ask and Jaya, Saturday midday, and just started painting it.
Do you know when it was in the newspaper? Because I've got that cut out of this.
Yeah, the front page job. Yeah, that was a twist. That's why I'm not too good on the old like talking about stuff and interviewing things.
People will always try and be your best friend when they're interviewing you for magazines, especially press, and then they'll portray you in a completely different light. They make out that they understand what you're doing and things, but then when they've got the public on their side, they'll go against you and put a complete different spin on what you've said.
We also approached the star at the same time, talked about the fist thing. This guy, he says, yeah, we're going to put this forward and promote it and stuff, so that you can get a legal place. And he just flipped it on his head, and he just said that we were going to blitz the city centre, and we weren't going to blitz nothing. We were just saying, give us a legal place to paint, and it'll take edge, or it'll stop normal graffiti. Not that it will, but it's an approach, do you know what I mean? So this guy flipped it on its head, and yeah, shit, I lost my job and everything through that.
That's why I've never had to go around them to try and get legal walls, and never really wanted to be famous for doing it.
But I mean, that's the media. He did it for a story, he didn't give a shit about us. So.
They used to do it quite often, and then, I mean, like late 90s, they had a graffiti squad, vandal squad, because we got Sheffield was in such a bad state that we're literally fucked. So they had to get a graffiti squad to try and catch everybody. They caught a good 20-30 people.
Getting to the early 90s, I had to calm down because they had a graffiti squad in Sheffield, and that was after, and they were after certain writers, and my name was one of them. I had a little break, came back in 2000. I thought, right, what can I do to make a real comeback? And I thought, well, I'll just come up with a slogan and just write my name everywhere. So I just came up with the Death Affair. How I saw that was, it was something I thought I'd share with everybody, you know, a little affair. And from then I just went out every night doing dubs everywhere, all over. I mean, they weren't just your normal dub, they were like little dub pieces, because I'd spent a little bit more time on them, putting arrows on and little with 3D and probably some colour, a little bit of colour. So I did these dub pieces everywhere. I started bombing the motorways as well, from Leeds to London, tagging every single bridge I could.
Just got back now from a little mission. Got to the spot that I'd been eyeing up for the last 2 days, and Bern had written on it. Sorry Bern, but rules at land. A dub goes over the throat. So I did. No offence to Bern, and always a good mate. It's Graph.
In our bed.
In our bed, yeah. Been active this week. 2 pieces, 6 silvers. I'm doing another piece tomorrow.
Alright, and a heart on the yard.
I might do this one, but what's wrong with that, Dan? What's wrong with this?
A little R straight onto the O like that.
Oh yeah.
So it was more.
Yeah, I've seen
Hey, that really swooped down a lot and it got curved. But that R used to kick back right in and just go out with a big O.
Boom! I remember one time I worked in a hotel in town. I was about 19, and I used to walk home, and I used to finish at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Took a few tins of me, walk home, fucking hammer all over everything, big spliff for me. And one night I was walking around Castle Markets when they were still up, and I seen this guy staggering down towards me, throwing up all over the place. And he's like, alright pal, have you got a cigarette or something? And I says, yeah, I just want to get on my way, you know what I mean? Gave him a cigarette, and he went, what are you doing out tagging? You know, because I had a backpack, and I was like, fucking hell, how do you know? And he went, oh, I'm Kane, BDP, what do you write? I said, oh, Pro, I said, if you don't, I've seen it. Come on then. And we went all over town, man. He took me to some spots down at train lines. He was just off his tits. He was tagging, just throwing up at the same time, like tagging and spewing all over himself.
Stocks, yeah.
Yeah, stock, yeah, that was another one of his tags, yeah. Yeah, we wrote everywhere in Green, Montana that night. That was a good night. And I gave him taxi fare, sent him off back to Rotherham, to where he was from.
Like, how did you know Wanner and get to know him and that?
From going to jungle raves, tell you the truth. He loved his jungle, him, fucking hell. Yeah, he loved the jungle. If he weren't at a jungle, he was listening to jungle tapes. At full blast.
The first time I met 007 was when I met him in town. I'd never met him before. And it was a really dark night, and it was very rainy. And I met this guy on the bus, and he says, I write Wanner like. And he says, I've heard about WSK and stuff. So we started talking. He said on the bus from town to Meadowhall, so I had a good amount of time to speak about stuff. So after a few days, I let him in the WSK, and he was starting to write Wanner.
Wanner he were a self-contained unit. The guy's lyrics from his drum and bass, what he used to glass engrave on buses. He must have been on that bus from terminus to terminus. They were like, he would like list a full song out in the glass engraver. He were a good writer.
I met him a couple of times, yeah, but as I say, he was like a graffiti tagger and bombing up and stuff, which I had a lot of respect for him and stuff. He did get up quite a bit. I didn't really like meet him as in hanging around with him and painting with him, because I think it was about the time he was getting up in Sheffield. We were doing a lot of travelling, so it was like I'd come back to Sheffield, see a bit of his stuff, go away again for like another few weeks, come back, see a bit more, and then never really, those paths never really crossed. But it'd have been good to paint with him. He got up quite a bit in some good spots as well, what people wouldn't usually like painting.
Well, yeah, and we spent a lot of time outside of graffiti as well. Does that mean we just used to chill? We were all boys, like, but we were always doing graphs. That's what we all like doing.
That's when he first started. So I let him into WSK, and I got to know him. He was a really nice guy, and we got on well.
Before I met Wanner, I used to see his name all over, and Wanner was pretty much getting up to be all city in Sheffield. I was still writing it, I was still bombing at the time, but I had a lot of respect for Wanner because I used to drive around either going somewhere or coming back from somewhere, and I used to stop and think, no, that'll be a good spot to hit that. And maybe a week later I'd see a Wanner throw up there or a Wanner dub, and I'd think, damn, he's got that spot. And this happened, I'd say it happened about 10 times when I thought about doing these spots, and Wanner's got there before me. So, you know, it were like great minds, right? Really, like great minds think alike. I had a lot of respect for Wanner.
We were doing dubs and roller dubs everywhere, I would say. And then after that, all I kept seeing was loads of Wanners, WSKs.
Oh, his emulsions, his big dub emulsion. Yeah, he had a lot of them up and down Meadowhall line, didn't he? But he's scribing really in the bus windows when he used to scribe all jungle lyrics in, didn't he? Verse after verse after verse, scribed in bus window. Neat as well.
Well, what do you know about 007? Wanner?
I never really knew the kid. They were fucking everywhere.
A lot of people have a perception how to see a writer and how a writer dresses. But Wanner, you wouldn't think he was a writer. When I met Wanner, I'd have thought he was, you know, one of these kids in, you know, what people call these days a mosher. And he just never looked like a writer.
Des was saying to me that like he didn't look like a writer, and I think that's how he got away with a lot of shit.
Yeah, he did. He had like big bushy afro hair, like the piercings in his face. But who does look like a writer though, really? I've always thought that, you know, over the years when you have actually met writers, you're like, fucking hell.
I knew him, and a few did, but he didn't rock up to the scene as far as like joining in on stuff or wanting to be cool. He just went out with his earphones on, had his smoke on, and just did his pieces, and he got some spots. So yeah, it was tragic what happened to him, and respect that people left his stuff up, and when something did get gone over of his, people crossed that out, and I thought that was good, because The guy's not here anymore, but his pieces are, so leave him. Forever. Don't, you know what I mean? Spots aren't that important. There's plenty of other places to paint. So yeah, no, I respected him.
Like, I never met Warner. Warner, when I'd stopped here through jail and certain things, yeah. Since I come back, I've been like banging things up everywhere again, yeah. I'd done a wall, yeah. I was the first one to do this wall, high up, yeah. I went to do a wall, yeah, and there was a Warner piece on it, and even though I never met him, and I heard that he died and all this, I left this piece. I was gonna go over the wall, and I seen that I said Warner, even though I used to have one before him years earlier. Like, and I went to that wall, climbed up onto his ledge, seen that there was a Warner there, and I left it out of respect to.
You say you went to his funeral?
Yeah, I went to his funeral. There were a decent turnout for it, really. Loads of graph writers. It was just a bit fucking strange. Someone that young just going like that.
Yeah, about 5 years ago now, I had a little baby boy and he died. He was only 12 hours old, and it really hit me and my partner really bad. You know, been trying for a family for ages, and yeah, it was a terrible time. So after the initial period, then I wanted to reflect and honour his memory, and I do that best through graffiti. So I did some tribute pieces with his name on Milo, and changed my tag, or just painted complete Milo, just Milo pieces all the time. And other writers in Sheffield were dead respectful towards that, and you know, respected what I was doing, so my things lasted a lot longer, and people were interested in it, which made me better with my grief for losing my boy. I had my tattoo done with his name on, so it's something that you never get over, but you just learn to deal with. And through graffiti and doing his name, and people saying, you seen the Milo, what DIEL's done, or this and this, and I did the big Milo, took the whole wool and the ball coat, what no one's done, and the tribute, and then that got left for 2 weeks and no one went over it, you know. And in this time when there isn't the old school respect what writers had before, people just go over everything, that got left for 2 weeks. So I really respected that, and then took it with me and a few friends that it'd be me that went over it, so that it'd open the wall back up for other people to write. And yeah, it helped me. That's what graph does, you know what I mean? It's not all about vandalism, it's a catch-22. It is vandalism, and it is art, and it is egotistical, and it is about getting fame and stuff, but why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
Is it a bit of a WSK reunion?
Well, it started with a few WSK people here, and it's gone well. It's fantastic.
Every time, bro.
I'm saying, boom!
Let's go! WS. Hey! Hey! And like you were saying, like, from then to now, what's difference? What's changed? What's made it so like?
Everyone's trying to go fucking legal. I mean, when we first started graffiti, you're like, yeah, let's try and get this wall legal. It said cool to get a wall that were legal, you know, to paint. That is just fucking shit. There's no buzz. And it's not about making money in my eyes, it's about enjoying it, getting out here, paint, being a bit of a twat to society and painting everything. Get your own little bit of fame.
Best place to paint is the trackside, because it's alright putting your stereo on and sitting down with your pack of beers and setting your barbecue going and painting away, but it's easy. Best buzz is when you're like out doing trains or out at night, because it's not vandalism, it's just that's what I got into it for, going out and getting a buzz. So easy to rack up and just turn up somewhere and I'm this, I'm that, and look how much paint I've got, and sit down with your brand new jacket on and do a piece. Better to go out all like inked up and just get hammered. And
I think if you're going to talk the talk, you've got to walk the walk first, mate, to be fair. I mean, you can't really call yourself a graffiti artist if all you've ever done is legal spots. Graffiti in my eyes is about nicking paint, being an art law basically. Just like something that's going to make you buzz off what you're doing, that you shouldn't be doing. Back of buses while they're trying to move and stuff, chucking a tag on or a rope, and making that bus driver see you after you're running off, laughing your bollocks off, and your mates are buzzing off you. And then you've got the other side of things where you do your legal thing and you do your illegal thing. In my eyes, if you haven't done that illegal thing and all you are is a legal graffiti artist, you're a muralist. You know what I mean? You've got to live both sides to class yourself as a graffiti artist.
They're not. I don't think they're real graffiti artists. Not real graffiti artists. Because a real graffiti artist has to, you know, go out there and do graffiti on the streets illegally. I mean, that's how everybody started doing graffiti. That's how all graffiti artists started doing graffiti, by doing something illegal.
I'll do certain legal walls, yeah, but you can't beat the buzz of doing illegal.
I don't like how it's evolved into these art forms and it's pictures are a pig on a wall. That's art. It's fantastic what we do with paint controls out of this world, but it's got to be a big fat letter with a big outline and a bee point under it. That's graffiti, and that's what it's about.
I don't really class them as like real graffiti artists. Don't get me wrong, yeah, there's some people who are like doing what he says graffiti like, which are good, they're good artists, but to me they're not artists. They're not really like, they're not real graffiti artists.
Yeah, basically they're not graffiti writers or artists. What I've noticed over the last few years is a lot of people, they go to college, they do art, they come out, they've got all these qualifications and shit, and then they realise you can't make a living out of being an artist just through painting people's faces and fucking just random landscape shit. So a lot of them come straight out of college, university, and jump straight on the bandwagon. I'll buy some spray cans instead of using paintbrushes, and then I'm a street artist, a fucking urban legend and all this shit, and it just doesn't entertain me. If you do graffiti, you do graffiti, but if you're painting bedrooms, like doing stuff just to make money, it takes novelty out of it. It's not a hobby anymore, it's a job.
Mainly I stick to illegals. I will do legal walls as well. I've got nothing against them, but I prefer an old, dirty, grimy spot, nobody about, where there is that risk of the police coming as well. It feels a bit more real. I'd get bored if I did legal walls all the time.
Well, it just adds to it, really. I mean, you need to experience all that. I mean, it's all good fun, but you just need to experience all that. You just need to experience the bad side of it once in a while.
Well, most of the times, if I paint a wall, if I do a nice piece on the wall, I'll look at it for 10 minutes, and then I've got in my mind that I want to do a big silver rope over it or something and vandalise it. I used to paint trains and smash the windows after, just for the sake of it. It's not something like, oh, someone's going to see my train running like 2-3 days and fucking stand there tossing themselves off on a platform. I'd rather paint a train and smash windows. It goes straight out in service. It doesn't entertain me that other people see it, because I don't do it for other people. I could go into a train yard and pop some cans and just fucking colour a train in silver, smash windows, and that'd be me done. That's a good night for me. It's not having nice panels running and talking about, yeah, I did this fat highlights and shit like that. It's the experience what you get, getting into a yard, the buzz that you get painting a train. It doesn't matter what you paint on a train as long as you're having a good time doing it.
So all that stencily arty-farty shit, let's try and get famous and make money from it. Graffiti's graffiti. Like when I was painting a shop shut the other week, a bloke come up to me, that's real art, that, I like that, asking me if I wanted to do a radio interview. And I'm saying it's not art, it's graffiti. He's saying it's not, that's art. I'm saying it's not, mate, I've painted it, it's graffiti. No matter what you look at it, in my eyes it'll always be graffiti.
Writers who claimed they're graffiti writers who are starting out now and never done all that, I've never experienced all that. Can't call themselves graffiti writers.
It's like a culture. It's something that you've got to enjoy, the vandalism bit, and for you to like suddenly turn around and say, oh, I've stopped doing vandalism now. Well, why would you stop doing it if you like doing it so much? It's something, you'll get people saying that they grow up and they've grown out of it, but how can you grow out and doing something what you enjoy, you get a natural high out of, and then you just transfer your talent, what you've got, onto doing legal walls, canvas boards, prints, t-shirts and shit like that.
I prefer that motorway madness and train yard madness where your heart's pumping and you know if you're going to get caught, it's not going to be pleasant.
There's no excitement. I can't really call it graffiti in such if you're not out there and doing it in these places. Just the aesthetics of the place and the look and everything like that. Even legal spots. I'm not dissing legal spots, but for me personally, it's just not really a big thing. I'll try to stay away from them. Obviously, you'll find yourself there sometimes, but yeah, things aren't going to last. And I like to get out there. I like to find spots where it's going to last.
Vandalism and shit. That's the basic reason why I got into it. Not to do fluffy pieces and shit like that. I was more into vandalism and like criminal damage and things, which I still am to this day. I'd rather go out and paint stuff like that than do prints and canvases and just random shit, people's bedrooms, and it's not really what I get into graph for. I don't get a buzz out of it.
Well, it's fair enough. I mean, I know a lot of people that just do canvases and a lot of arty-farty stuff, if you want to call it that, what we all say. But each to their own. Graffiti is all about, like, my thing were from, like I've said, the illegal, the mischief, the nighttime stuff, the racking up the scene, the mental side of it, and enjoying it that way. So people who are doing canvases or people who want to do legal stuff, they're doing their thing. They're graffiti writers, they're doing graffiti on canvas, they're doing graffiti legal places, but each to their own. I used to have a little bit of view about it, but now I don't. They're doing the thing, and that's it.
It's just I've got to take care. It's like part of growing up, we having family and stuff like that, I have to be a bit cautious. This is why I like my legal side of stuff. I get time, don't get into no trouble. I'm not saying I'm backing out of it. If I ever come across again, I'd do it. But it's got to be a certain opportunity that I've got to take when I need to take it. Not that I've got to take it.
End of the day, when graffiti is done right, it looks nice. That's why a lot of cities now, when councils have got their head screwed on, are putting a lot of effort in to providing legal places for people to paint skate parks or gable ends in towns and commissioning good people, and it's brightening stuff up. I mean, same old thing. There's enough billboards out there all blasting things in your face. Why can't you have someone's nice painting up there? You know what I mean? It's cool.
So now we're off down trade lines, down wind tunnels, do some silvers down there, maybe do some motorways after, depending what time it is. Might even see what situation is at train stations, to be fair. Got all mate, got no else to do. See what happens. Get some colours for the train, just in case, off at motorway. Should go for the pink tape. Should be a good night. So want some gloves.
the man, the art in the chaos, genius behind the facade of the pathos. Dream weaver for the HD era, force surge sharper, voice seem clearer. So don't be acting like a little madam, you ain't even got a ball to add the strings to it if you had them. Laughing at your lack of talent circle.
Yeah, I've never stopped doing graffiti, I'll never will. It's something that I've always enjoyed in my life. If you meet a woman, she's got to understand that you like to do graffiti. You don't want to sit down and watch EastEnders every night and do random shit, same mundane Monday to Friday shit. I like to go out and vandalise stuff.
Keep engaging conversation, the Freudian slip.
Yo, listen maggot, I'll split your cabbage with a pistol barrel or a swinging hatchet till you kiss the granite. Spilling like me pissing.
Painted for this long and stuff like that. It's just nice still to be painting on that scene when people come to you, oh yeah, I can't believe you're still fucking doing it. It's nice to have that bit of recognition.
That's what I want out of this graphing as well, just just the name to live on. I want to be that guy where the younger generation are going around and saying, oh look what it is there. I want to try and inspire the next generation as much as I was inspired by the last one.
Fist with the force in the sprint of a cheetah, so quick it causes epileptics to seizure. Heart stay cold through the ships of the seas.
I mean, graffiti, like, in the words of Theo from Infamy, it takes you to some very, very dark places, but these places are beautiful at the same time. It's like a woman. You might get the ugliest woman walk down your street, but somebody's going to find that woman beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the same as if I go to an old railway side or an old abandoned factory that's covered in pigeon shit and it's full of squatters and heroin addicts and all sorts, and I've been in places.
You can run, you can hide, but you won't make it out here alive. The mic is complete for your life, but you won't make it out in one piece if you tried. You can run, you can hide, but you won't make it out here alive. The mic is complete for your life, but you won't make it out in one piece if you try. We rewrite the 7 sins, and this is Sheffield, so I don't need no wristband to tell me that I'm getting in. North crime scene's my heritage, still dead in them, still getting bit like Genesis, still stepping it up, still levels above. It's not that difficult to assess them a good. Still hit the competition with a hell of a punch. Living head split second that the record is spun. First blood in a grudge match, and if I look back, I probably robbed the fucking dust caps off your mum's van. Cans of paint in my rucksack, facing a dust mask. Spotters both lanes of the footpath. Me and Barlow, we took chances.
As daft as it sounds, my company know what I do at work, and they'll give me whatever time off. If I can have time off to paint, they'll give me time off to paint. It's quite good for stuff like that.
It's all just a big fun thing for me. It's never been something I want to make money out of. I've never looked at it as in to get so good that I'm in every magazine. I've got my own website, I've got my own t-shirt designs, limited edition prints, fucking bum bags, rucksacks, baseball caps. I don't do it for fame like that, I just do it for the enjoyment of vandalising stuff.
Light years ahead, Mandalorian special. Light 'em up like they're petroleum drenched. Size 'em up, fight 'em, choke 'em to death. Bang!
To Amsterdam, bro.
I don't want to get too political in that bit. Government and that, and they ain't got a clue. They don't know what's happening. They don't know how people feel. They can all sit in the suits and come out of the little public schools and make up all these laws and stuff. But why do I want to listen to people like that when them people are nothing like me and they've lived nothing like my lifestyle? So I'm gonna always go out and do what I do.
Yeah, I don't think graffiti will ever die. It's always going to be there. There's always going to be that next generation going out and smashing everything, whether it gets buffed. I've done a lot of stuff, I'm sure, like a lot of people, and a small percentage of that is now still standing, which is a shame. But yeah, the way the world's going now, the government's just all fucked up, and talking about this new world order and this big brother world that we're living in, it's so true. It's just you can't get away with anything. It's so hard, cameras watching you and the council on it and trying to stop all expression whatsoever, and even legal spots are getting took away, and they'll just have you for anything. And I think that's what's going to ruin Graff. But Graff will it's always got over, hasn't it? Always got over. They've stopped one process, but then it's moved on to another one.
It's that hate sky, innit? Everybody's watching you now. I think it's spoilt a big part of it. If you're willing to take that risk, then take it, like I say. But there ain't many opportunities about now. It's either in cover of darkness or you can't do it. Whereas you used to do it back in the 90s, you just do it in the middle of the day and not care a shit.
Morally, to me, there's nothing wrong with graffiti. Graffiti is an art form. Graffiti is colourful. It brightens up a dull wall, and yet the police and the government think graffiti artists, in some cases, are worse than paedophiles. They're worse than crackheads who go and rob old ladies. They're getting more time in prison, bigger fines, bigger everything. And it shouldn't be like that. Society is messed up quite a lot, do you know what I mean? So it's just wrong. So for as long, I mean, I do understand that the police, they do a good job, and they do have to be there because of paedophiles, because of rapists, murderers and all that stuff. But when it comes to graffiti, I just think they've got it wrong.
Do you think you'll always do it?
Well, it's coming up to like 10 years, not far off 10 years since I've been doing it. So, and it's been a non-stop thing. It's not like, it's been like every weekend out there doing at least 2 pieces, sometimes even more, going all day long, just graphing till I'm out of paint. And so, and it's just getting to a point now where the game is stepped up another notch, and I know it can go further. I know it can go all the way to becoming like something incredible.
You know what I mean? I'm right liking at the minute. You get invites to one paint, let's say Tamworth. You get invites down to Manchester. You get invites down London and different jams and stuff like that. I like how it works now.
So now it's a lot more of a social thing than a gang orientation.
Yeah. Well, you'd probably say it was more territorial back then as well.
We're not bigging us up saying we're fucking this and that, because we're not at all, but we have lasted. We've lasted 20 years.
But I've had my time and I've enjoyed it, and I respect all people who are still writing in Sheffield, all the ones. I'd like to see some other people come out, like Graphics, like where's he gone? He was one of the best writers, still one of the best pieces ever, and Speak to Ask, he'll say exactly the same. Graphics is the man.
What I've noticed is what a lot of people do is they'll paint in factories and things what no one's ever going to see, but within a matter of 20 minutes thousands of people have seen it on their Facebook or their web page, and I've got no real time for things like that because it doesn't entertain me. It's not something what I want to publicise and have all over the internet so everyone's commenting on it and shit like that. It's never been about satisfying other people and promoting your name. It's more about having fun and the people that you meet, the experiences you have. It's never been about collecting photos, collecting magazines, painting with famous people.
I'm not going to condone everything that I've ever done or what other people do, because some stuff is out of order, but in this world that we live in where it's like it is, sometimes you have just got to be, oh fuck it, who gives a shit, and sometimes you got to take that attitude, because all this bullshit's out there, which a lot of it is bullshit. It's all just the world as we know it is being created into certain ways, and that don't interest me whatsoever. But going around writing on stuff and decorating things, that doesn't interest me, so that's what matters.
You find with graffiti a lot of different people get into it. It's not all about, I don't know if it's the 4 elements or the 5 elements, fucking hip hop, and a lot of people aren't into it. I was never a big fan of hip hop. It were all like rave music and shit. And then now you're meeting new graffiti writers that they hate hip hop and they're never been into it. And I like that in a way because you see different types of graffiti, not just the mundane fucking pieces with the same highlights, same 3Ds, same characters. You see like more like hard rock stuff and people expressing the ways in different types of art rather than the just usual shit what you've been seeing for years.
Oh yeah, it'll never go away. I mean, you can see shit when you're at my house, you can see stuff, do you know what I mean? I've got stickers, I'm writing on stuff, and The boys, I've got like 2 boys now, and they're, do you know what I mean? They're writing on stuff and Subway Art in the room, and it'll never go away because you're into it that much. But you get older and your life gets busier, you get kiddies, you get work and shit like travelling, so, but graffiti will never go away for me. It's just, and I think that's what a lot of old school writers are like now, that life gets busy. When you're younger, you don't give 2 shits. It's your lifestyle, innit, and that's what you do. But now, yeah, I've not painted for over a year now. But that don't mean I'm not drawing in house. That don't mean I ain't got a shitload of paint, because I have. It's just times get busy. But yeah, it'll never go away. Once it's in your blood, that's it. And I think I've got to a certain level now and don't think I'm going to excel. Other people in Sheffield keep getting better and better and better. But I sort of hit a level, but it don't mean that I'm not going to come back and still do stuff, because I always will. Always will. Watch that train yard. Yeah.
My name carries weight like a cargo plane. This game over, I'll take apart anybody's rave and set roofs on fire like I took a whole flame power to a back of charcoal slaves. You're no name, but trying to make ends meet. I ain't getting paid on an arsehole's wage. I treat getting signed like HMP and just pump weights and write bars all day. So fuck talking beat shit, I attract when I speak. Leave beats bleeding with broken ribs and I light up a hook like I tied it up and pour the full can of gasoline all over it. If grind's on its last legs, I'm a walking stick. My mind's gone psychosis just under these noticing. Yes, after all these years, I'm still seeing red, and I ain't never smoked a split. I ain't fucking about. Fuck face about, then I'm punching it out. It's like set man can't keep my name out the mouth, so now I'm going in like he's chucking it down. Yeah, I ain't fucking around, get dumped to the ground for a bully, but fuck it. Trust me, nobody can fuck with the sound. I'm a shepherd for the sheep that run with the crowd. I ain't fucking about. Fuck face about, then I'm punching it out. It's like set man can't keep my name out the mouth, so now I'm going in like he's chucking it down. I ain't fucking around, get dumped to the ground for a bully, but fuck it. Trust me, nobody can fuck with the sound. I'm a shepherd for the sheep that run with the crowd. Oi, if you don't know, check the fam. A team of bees made up of the best of man. But I've noticed here, and it's dandy, I'm out for the pies, no desperate dance. And your best in gang, they're not testing. Cap gal scream for the stam like wrestling fans. But she's easy, I come like a tribal quest. Can we dig it? Yes we can. I get bigs, not desperate cam, and I'm blessed. I got back a sketch for the extra spam. Got the good wood that speaks to beaver. I'm an eager beaver, wanna check the dam and find a cappy and kid to wrap a big split and pass the piff quick while smoking the best of grams. But you never see them get a wing curry, they make it all rosy. I don't mean the Webster fam. I ain't fucking about. Fuck face about, then I'm punching it out. It's like set man can't keep my name out the mouth, so now I'm going in like he's chucking it down. I ain't fucking around, get dumped to the ground for a bully, but fuck it. Trust me, nobody can fuck with the sound. I'm a shepherd for the sheep that run with the crowd. I ain't fucking about. Fuck face about, then I'm punching it out. It's like set man can't keep my name out the mouth, so now I'm going in like he's chucking it down. I ain't fucking around, get dumped to the ground for a bully, but fuck it. Trust me, nobody can fuck with the sound. I'm a shepherd for the sheep that run with the crowd. I didn't used to get rated much, now I get played in closely. Face the grime caked in blood, plus I got birds falling in love with me just cause we met drunk at a dub rave and fuck. Came for the sex, fuck making love, I don't care about yet tonight your weight is gone. I'm here to bang, bust not all over your face and duck. So fuck trying to squash the beef, grind like a vet, put dogs to sleep. It can bite the dust like a mighty duck, slap shot to the face like Fulton Reed. Hear my track like what's the beat? It's an exclusive, no rude kid, you